Tip FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puck On. See slatterysgarage.ie.
You're very welcome back to Tip Today. One of our listeners saying that they saw me in the RSVP magazine. Thank you for that. Yeah, I know that Muriel and I were featured in that along with a whole host of music people there. And if you love your country music, it's certainly worth picking up that. It's on your shelves right now. And I know that Trudy Lawler is the editor of the country music section of it, and lots of great pictures in there and one thing and another. Let's move on to gardening, and delighted to be joined as usual by Ultan Nesbit of Arabon. Good morning to you, Ultan.
Good morning, Fran.
Great to see you today. You have some lovely stuff for us there, and I'll talk about that in just a few moments' time. But it's been very, very cold overnight. I think down to about -3. What do we need to be careful of?
Yeah, really, at this time of the year, especially with plants that will be coming into flower, things like the lovely camellias, and you'll have the lovely flower buds starting to form on them. And then in January, February, March, you'll have a fantastic display of flowers from them. But really, they're quite susceptible to frost damage. So it's an ideal time is to either put a frost fleece over those to protect them from any severe frost. If it goes below, let's say, -5 or something like that, it's very important to have those type of plants covered. Or even, don't you know, the lovely Dixonias, it's the tree ferns, and they're particularly nice, very exotic looking fern as well. You often see them down in Kerry growing quite well. But the tree ferns would need to be protected as well. So again, if you could, with the top crown of the tree fern is where the growth is. You'll have the ferns unfurling at the top part of it. So it's very important now is to tie up the old stems of it, of the fern itself at the top part of it, and then put in either a hessian or even the frost fleece around it, and that protects the top crown from any frost damage, and therefore you'll have a lovely display of the ferns during the summer then as well, so they don't get any damage done to them. Other things that are very susceptible as well, of course, are the hydrangeas. I think anything that you have that are kind of frost sensitive, it's always good to have them planted in areas in the garden that is frost free. So near a base of a wall, or even in amongst other shrubs. And other shrubs will protect other plants from frost damage by cover. Let's say if you have evergreens, what's lovely now at the moment, of course, are the viburnums. And the viburnum tinus everprice is quite a nice full plant and flowers right through the winter as well. And that's quite good to have with, let's say, a camellia or even with a hydrangea. And because of the evergreen foliage of it, will protect it from any frost damage as well. They're much hardier plant really as well. They're quite good. But with the hydrangeas, plant them near a base of a wall, or even put during this time of the year, really it's kind of January, February, March are the really cold months, is to put just the frost fleece over them, and that protects the buds from any frost damage. And really, because with hydrangeas, if they get burnt by frost, it tends to burn them back down to ground level, and all you'll get is a lot of stem growth and foliage and no flowers. But if you protect those buds from frost damage, you'll have loads of flowers.
Very good indeed. Now you come bearing gifts as always. Tell me what's in studio with us today.
Yeah, really, this is a great time of year. We really are in the kind of the autumn time. It's all the leaves have gone off the trees now at this stage. So it's a good time to get the saplings or bare rooted hedging as well into your garden, and they're much better value really to get at this time of the year. I mean, all you're paying for, let's say, either we have birch, alder, oak, whitethorn, which is quite good. You have the lovely beech, of course, as well. Even yew or holly, and these are quite good. And really, they're about 2.5 foot high. That you can get. They're in whips, and you kind of can do a staggered row as a hedge with the whitethorn. Normally, I put 7 per metre, and so 4 and 3 do a staggered row with them. Yeah. And they're very stock-proof. The whitethorn is quite good, and it's very, very hardy, and especially if you're in a very exposed area where nothing else will grow. also the whitethorn will, and it's good indigenous hedge to have in your garden or out in the headland as well, around the farms. Other things that are quite nice as well are the Scots pine, or even a thing called yew as well, which is particularly nice, lovely evergreen, or the hollies, the Ilex aquifolium, which is lovely Irish holly, lovely dark green leaf in it. And again, the hollies are an abundance of berries on them at this time of the year, so they really are nice, and they're a very good food source for the birds as well. Other things there that I have, there's a little bit unusual, but it is indigenous to Ireland as well, is an Arbutus unado. It's a Killarney strawberry tree.
Is that at the far side?
That's the lovely,
yes,
the lovely evergreen one there,
isn't it? Yeah.
And that has lovely white lily of the valley type flowers on it now at the moment, and it's quite a nice thing. But even the bark of it is really nice. When you get that kind of autumn, winter sun on it, it has that lovely kind of reddish bark that comes on it. But again, lovely evergreen, and again, you'll have those lovely edible strawberries on it, and during the summer months as well, which is particularly nice. So a lovely thing to have in your garden or in your hedgerow are those type of plants. Other things that are good if you're a very exposed area are the elder trees, and Anis glutinosa is a lovely tall. You often find them planted around orchards or fruit trees and things like that, because they're good as a shelter belt. Because they're quite narrow, they don't grow wider than 3 foot, but very, very upright in habit, and they almost form a kind of a wall, let's say a 15, 20 foot high wall, quite good for exposed areas. And again, very easy to grow as well. And again, they're only about 160 each. To plant. So normally what I tend to do is just dig a hole, back of the spade, down, push it down into it, and firm it down with your boot, and that's planting it. There's very, very little effort in it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And a lot of these plants, if you're buying them containerised, they're nearly 3 times the price of what you'd get bare rooted. So the bare root is very good to do at this time of the year, and always plant them between September and March is a good time to get them. But I always say try and plant them before Christmas, because they'll form a much better root system on them. So in the middle of May, when you get a drought, they can cope with that and survive then as well. So always try and get those bare rooted hedging plants in before Christmas.
What about Christmas trees then? I guess Arabon, you would stock Christmas trees. Is there a wide variety there?
There is, yeah. We have a lovely selection of artificial Christmas trees as well, of course. So we've lovely the black Christmas trees, or the silver white ones as well, or even ones that have the fibre optic lights on them, which are particularly good as well. And they come in a range of prices as well. Also we're doing the live Christmas trees as well. Either the Scots pine, which is quite a nice one, or Pinus abies, which is the real Christmas tree look, I suppose. It has that lovely layered effect on it,
yes,
which is particularly good. And then there's lovely Christmas tree bases with them to keep them good and solid. I always like the real Christmas tree that you can put into the house, because they get that lovely smell of the pine and the pine needles, or even the lovely cones that are around the...
And speaking of the needles, I mean, is there a variety available that wouldn't have them all over your carpets?
Yeah, well, the Pisces abies tends to hold on to them much longer, and they're quite a good one to use. The Scots pine tends to the needles tend to fall a little bit earlier. They're a longer needle that come on them. But the Pisces abies is much more compact in habit, and a much better tree to have.
Right, did you tell me over the years that if you keep the Christmas tree hydrated in some way, it can be useful?
It is, yeah, and we have those stands, the Christmas tree stands that you can fill with water, normally with sand at the outside of it, and then water. That gives it good stability, really, and that keeps it fresher for longer. So that's quite a good thing to do with your Christmas tree. So keep water at the very base of the trunk of the tree to keep plenty of water on it. Now there is live Christmas trees that you can get as well. There's a Korean pine, which is particularly nice, and that has the lovely blue cones on it, the sit almost upright, almost like little candlesticks. Normally cones on pine trees are hanging downwards.
Yes.
But with the Korean pine, they sit upright. And they're lovely blue little cones that sit upright. And you can plant them out into your garden then afterwards if you wanted to as well. So they make a lovely statement piece in the middle of a lawn, really, because you have that lovely layered effect.
Sounds good. I haven't seen them before.
Yeah, the Korean pine or Pinus custer.
Right, very good indeed. Questions in for you. My tomato plants have yellowing leaves. They're wilting. What could be causing this, and how could I treat it?
Really, at this time of the year, tomato plants are dying back anyway.
Right.
So really, that's the nature of them. But what I would do is try and harvest any plants or any tomatoes that have formed, and put them into a brown paper bag. They'll actually season quite well. They're still green. So put them into a brown paper bag and store them in your kitchen windowsill, and they'll season quite well. Or again, we can make chutneys out of them as well, which is quite a good thing to do. Because really, the tomatoes stalks are all dying back now, so start to remove those out of your glasshouse as well.
Right, very good. You mentioned yew when you were talking to us earlier on. One of our listeners is wondering, is that dangerous to farm animals if it overhangs onto farmland?
Taxus baccata is very poisonous
Right.
from head to toe. So it is very important to have it in an area where it's only as an ornamental hedge or tree. So normally you use yew in formal garden planting. You often see it in the old estates.
Yes, of course.
This kind of lovely yew hedge, or even the lovely topiary shapes that you can make from them as well. So they are quite a nice, dense evergreen that grows quite well. And again, a lot of people would use the box hedging and things like that. And box tends to get a blight the last couple of years, while yew keeps a good disease resistant to any blights or anything like that. It's quite a good hedge to have. But only use that in an ornamental state, in a garden where you're not having livestock.
Yes, Tom has a technical one. Is it easy to graft an apple tree now at this point?
Bud July graft in April normally. But what you do is you harvest the stems, the vegetative stems from the apple trees now. So normally what you do is you take a 9-inch long cutting,
Yes.
the top growth really, about pencil thickness. And you cut them now and store them in silica sand, just heal them in, and that stores. Then in the springtime, when you're grafting, you can do a saddle graft, it's called, onto your rootstock of an apple tree, and that will take quite well. So you take the cuttings now of the variety that you want to graft onto your tree in the spring.
Oh, very good. My houseplants' leaves are browning at the edges. Could this be due to overwatering, humidity, or just pests?
No, sometimes with the browning is to do with humidity, and then you get, if they're in full sun, they'll tend to get scorched on the leaves. So really what I would tend to do is pinch off any affected leaves on it, on whatever particular plant it is. So pinch them off to remove them. And then use a thing called a plant tonic. It's a thing called like a sequester of iron sachet that you can put into your watering can. And that water that at the base of the plants, and that will actually reinvigorate them and give them more disease resistant to any rusts or fungal attack on it. So that makes it much healthier looking for the indoor plants as well.
I wonder is a similar answer to this one. The roots of my indoor orchids are exposed and turning brown. How do I sort that out?
With orchids, a little bit different. Orchids need to be moist at all times. And I always have a dish at the very base of the orchid pot, and always have that filled with water, so that the aerial roots can get to the water and take up moisture that way. It's very important with orchids as well, is to keep misting the foliage regularly. So that keeps them lovely and supple and healthy as well. Orchids are again, you can give them a winter feed, an orchid winter feed at this time of the year. With any of the flowers, they do last for a very long time. They're absolutely magnificent when they do flower. But when the flower starts to fade, you should really cut it at the very, very base of the plant to cut off the flower stalk once it's faded. That will encourage it to produce more flowers for you. So keep deadheading it really. Once the main flower has faded, cut it right at the very base of it, and then that will encourage it to produce more flowers for you.
All right. Listener says, I noticed tiny insects on my houseplants' leaves. Wonder what's causing this and how can I deal with it?
Yeah, really you'll get an awful lot of whitefly on indoor plants now at the moment.
Even this time of year?
Even at this time of the year. Because, see, it's more like the heating and everything else, and they'll harbour in on the crevices of your windowsill or that as well. So it's important to use, what we have is an organic or natural insecticide. It's a Nenagh greenfly spray. So you spray that underneath the foliage. So always spray from the base going up, so that you're getting underneath the foliage, because most of the whitefly and greenfly are in underneath the leaves of it. So really try and get in underneath the foliage to get rid of any greenfly. So use a Nenagh greenfly spray. It's quite good and very effective.
All right, will you take a final one for me, if you would? Stems of basil plants are rotting at the base. There seems to be a theme running through this today. What might be causing that, and can I save the plants at this point?
No, once you harvest from basil, it's very, very unlikely that it re-sprouts again. It's very important. So you have to sow basil every 3 weeks, so that you have a good fresh stock of it all the time. Now, with basil, if the top of the compost is damp, it will tend to rot at the base of the stem. So it's very important to always water at the very, let's say, like you're using a saucer actually. So it's almost like a capillary action, that the water comes from the base of the saucer up to the root system. Don't water from the top, because that tends to rot them. And so it's very important to keep the top of the compost dry, but allow the water at the very base of the basil. So as you're harvesting it, you really should be using or sowing basil nearly every 3 weeks to have a fresh crop of it.
All right. Good to see you as always, Ultan. Thanks very much indeed. Ultan Nesbit there of Arabon. We'll take a break. We're back with more from Nina in just a moment.
Tip FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. Now is the time to pick up your next van. From the award-winning Peugeot Partner van to the Expert and the load-lugging Boxer van. We have big vans, high-roof vans, long wheelbase vans. You'll find them all at Slattery's Garage Puckon. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tip FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.